Hello, this is Mr. Hodgen, and this is the absolute value review for our first quiz of the semester. So I'm going to go through each problem step by step, and you can follow along and write it down, but just make sure that you're going to be able to do it all by yourself as well. So you don't just want to copy it down and say you're done, but maybe print out another one off School Loop and make sure you can do it by yourself as well. Okay, so that's how you study for quizzes in our test. So let's get started. Here's number one. So remember that conceptually, this part stands for the center, okay? Some location. Okay? So if this is our street we're on, okay, we want to take this number inside, which is +4, but remember that the sign is changed to a negative. It's always the opposite because -4 is what makes this 0. So you're looking at what number makes this 0 inside. And then the number that it's equal to stands for the distance, how far you're going on each side. And it's very important to understand that distance has to be a positive. It's impossible to drive negative miles or to measure something and be -5 feet long. So we're going to go 9 to the right. That's going to be an answer. So from here to here, it's going to be 9. And then, so -4 plus 9 is going to be 5. And then this direction also. And now, since it's to the left on the number line, it's like a minus. So -4 minus 9 is -13. So my two answers will be -13 and 5. And this is the format to write your answer in, and these braces here. Okay. So how do we show that algebraically? What will you have to show on the actual quiz? So you'll show me that algebraically that x plus 4 is going to be 9 away. That's this going to be this right here, my center of x plus 4, and then go up 9. I'm going to have another answer that's going to be, what if I go the other way? So the same center, x plus 4, but go -9. That's where we get this answer. So we solve each one of these individually by subtracting, doing some algebra. So what plus 4 equals 9? We get an answer of 5, and of course it matches what we predicted with our graph. And same thing over here. Now the directions don't say the graph, I just did this graph so you can see what everything means, and it's not just a bunch of steps. But the directions do say, if I can see them, they do say to check your solutions right there at the top. So you do have to perform a check. That's not optional. A check just means you plug it back in, both of your answers individually, one by one. You plug them back into the original problem. So you're going to plug each one separately into here. So you're going to verify, well, with x, we know that x is 5, so we're going to plug in 5 plus 4 and show that's equal to 9. And you're going to show that -13 plus 4, absolute value of course, is equal to 9. So here we have absolute value of 5 plus 4, which is absolute value of 9. Does that equal 9? And as you know, the absolute value of 9 is equal to 9. Remember, absolute value of 9 is just distance. So as soon as they're the same thing, or a true statement actually, as soon as it's true, okay, that means your answer is correct. We know this is correct for sure. We know this is correct for sure. And verify the second one. -13 plus 4 is -9, and the absolute value of -9 is +9. So now we verified that -13 is the solution because we got, again, another true statement. Okay, so that's a full problem beginning to end. and the graph was optional. But we definitely have to have the solutions. Okay, have to solve. That's step one, and then here you have to have check. Okay, we'll go through each of these now, just a little bit faster, just with the steps. So let's go over to 2. As we said before, that this is like a center, and this is like a distance. Okay, so the question is, well, wait a minute. The absolute value is distance. Is it possible to even go a -3 distance? And the answer is no. Okay, so there's no solution to this because this is asking from this center, whatever this value is that makes this 0, from this center, why don't you go -3 miles down the road, which doesn't make sense. You can't go -3 miles anywhere. Even if you go left, right, east, west, even if you're driving backwards, you're still not driving negative miles. So that's why this does not make sense. So that's all you need to write there. There's no graph, there's no check. Okay. If you were curious about a check, you could plug anything into here, into W, simplify the insides, but every time you took the absolute value, you'd get a positive number. So it can never equal -3 no matter what. There's no number that will work. Alright, so there we go. Let's go down to 3. So speed it up a little bit. We got a center of 2x minus 5 with 13 away in each direction. So I want to go 2x minus 5, 13 to the right. And then from the same center, 2x minus 5, go 13 to the left. Solve each one and separately, add 5 to both sides. 2x equals 18. Right, -5, +5 is 0. Divide both sides by 2. 2 times what is 18? Okay, so 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1x equals 9. Do the same thing on the other side. The algebra will be the same if you put them side by side. So again, +5 to both sides. Add 2 to both sides. This time we get -13 plus 5, which is -8. Okay, divide both sides by 2. And now x equals -4. Good. And of course, you can do the checks here. Okay, so absolute value of 2 times 9 minus 5, is that equal to 13? You're really trying to see, question mark, are these equal to each other or not? And then also verify, is 2 times -4 minus 5, is that equal to 13? Okay. So we have 18 minus 5, and there you go. 18 minus 5 is absolute value of 13. Absolute value of 13 is 13. So we're good there. One more time. -8 minus 5, which equals 13. Make sure you make those dark or make them a little bit bigger so they don't look like number 1. And then sure enough, it checks out. Okay, this has a number on the outside, so before I break it up, I am going to undo that number by doing the opposite. Okay, so this is a +4, so I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides. So we got absolute value of 8n minus 1 equals 11 minus 4, which is 7. Okay, now, since I have nothing on the outside, I can go ahead and break it up into 2 parts. So 8 times some number minus 1 will equal +7. and 8 minus some number is going to equal negative 7. So this time I'm going to solve them simultaneously, so I know I'm going to add 1 to both sides here and here, which will be the same over here. And it's up to you if you want to do that, but just know that the algebra is always the same, meaning what you add or subtract to both sides is the same. The answers will come out different because one's positive and then one's negative. Okay, so algebra is the same, arithmetic is different. Okay, let's go ahead and divide everything by 8. Alright, so now we have n equals 1, and n equals negative 6 over 8. So just simplify a little bit, divide by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, 8 divided by 2 is 4. And now do a check for both of those. So check means, plug it into the original equation. So it's a little bit longer. 8 times 1 minus 1, absolute value, plus 4 equals 11. Always use the original equation. It's tempting to want to plug it back into here, but if we made a mistake anywhere between here and here, we won't catch it. So you got to use the original equation from the very beginning. So let's do a couple steps at once. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. So we got absolute value of 7. Plus 4 is that 11. And then sure enough, yeah, 7 plus 4 is 11. Okay, let's do the second one. Negative 3/4. Okay, so 8 times negative 3/4 minus 1, absolute value, plus 4, does that equal 11? Okay, so you can do two ways. You can do 8 times negative 3, right, off to the side. You don't have to show this, but you can do this and say, well, 8 times negative 3 is negative 24, and then it's over 4, which equals negative 6. Or you can say, let's cross cancel. 4 goes into 8 2 times, and 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Either way, you'll get negative 6 here. So negative 6 minus 1 plus 4 equals 11. So we get absolute value of negative 7 plus 4 is 11. Of course, absolute value of negative 7 is just 7 plus 4. So yeah, that does equal 11. So we know for sure both my answers are correct. Also, don't forget to write your answers in an answer set. So there you go, just like that. All right, let's go to number 5. All right, nothing on the outside, so I can just break it up right away. So some number divided by 5 plus 6 will equal positive 8, and that same number divided by 5 plus 6 will also equal negative 8. Okay, let's do the algebra. Start with adding and subtracting always, so then subtract 6, subtract 6. Alright, so it cancels out. We'll have some number divided by 5 is equal to 2, and some number divided by 5 is equal to negative 14. Okay. Alright, what number divided by 5 is 2? Alright, hopefully you'll come up with 10. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And of course show that by multiplying both sides by 5. 5's cancel. 2 times 5 is 10. Same thing over here. What number divided by 5 is 14? Not as obvious, okay, but we can multiply both sides by 5. 5's cancel. So m equals 14 times 5, which is going to be, let's see here, mentally I'd probably do it this way. 14 is 10 plus 4, so that's going to be 50 plus 20, which is 70, so negative 70. Seems like a big number, but we'll do a check and verify if it's correct or not. Alright, so let's get rid of that and go ahead and do a check. Start red. Okay, have room here. Yeah. So here we go. Let's check 10. Oh, that's not going to work. There we go. 10 is 10 divided by 5 plus 6. Okay, is this equal to 8? And is negative 70 divided by 5 plus 6, that equal to 8. Okay, there we go. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 2 plus 6 is 8. So yeah, first one checks out. And lastly here, notice how we're pretty much doing the work in reverse at this point. So negative 70 divided by 5. Okay. So here we did 14 times 5 to get negative 70. Now we're doing negative 70 times divided by 5. You just end up with negative 14. Okay. Here we subtracted 6. Now you're going to end up adding 6. So if you notice your check is very similar to your work, that's a good thing. They should match. This time it comes out to negative 8, of course. Absolute value of negative 8 is positive 8. There we go. So we know for sure 10 and negative 70 are our answers. Solution set. Alright, let's do a few more. We're on, number 7. We have two values outside. We have a negative 3 outside, and we have a times 4 outside. So this negative 3 is minus 3. So I'm going to end up adding 3 to both sides, then dividing both sides by 4. Then I'm going to be able to break it up because I have to get rid of everything outside of the absolute value. So anything not inside here, I have to do first. So let's add 3 to both sides. So we got absolute value, 4 times the absolute value of x minus 2 equal to 12. Divide both sides by 4. Do not distribute in, just divide it out. Okay, so cancels out. X minus 2 equals 3. Absolute value. Now you can go ahead and break it up. So what minus 2 equals 3, and what minus 2 equals negative 3. Solve that. Plus 2 on both sides. Plus 2 on both sides. So x will equal negative 1, and x will equal 5. Negative 1 and 5 is our plausible solution set. Make sure you go ahead and do the check, and I'll let you guys do those from now on. Alright, 8. Explain why absolute value equation only has one solution. Alright, what would be helpful would be go back to number 1. Remember, in number 1 here, right here, this is the center, and this is how far you're going away from that center. So we were at negative 4, and we went 9 away and 9 away. So this number determines how far we actually go. So what happens if that number is 0? Okay? That's our distance right here. So this is saying start right here, but don't go anywhere. So it makes sense that if on a number line, point that out, that we have some starting point anywhere in the middle, And this says, well, go a zero distance, don't go anywhere. Well, that's going to be our answer because we haven't left anywhere. So our only answer is going to be 2p plus 1 equals 0. There's no positive, there's no negative. 0 does not exist. So if we just solve this, we'll get, looks like, negative 1/2. Our answer is, we start at negative 1/2, and we didn't go anywhere, zero distance. So that's why our only answer is just negative 1/2. So in summary, there are 3 possibilities, and it all depends on what is the distance equal to. Okay. Look at the whole, everything all together. So most of them were 2 solutions. Oh, I skipped one. I just noticed. Okay. Most of them were 2 solutions. But when this was a negative distance, there's no solution. And when it was 0, there's 1 solution. So in summary, okay, if it's equal to a negative, okay, it doesn't matter what the number is, okay, there's no solution. And if it is equal to 0, okay, like in number 8, then there's 1 solution. And all the others, if they were a positive, then we had 2 solutions. And remember, the 2 solution is because we start at the center and we went so far to one direction and then so far the other direction, so we had 2 answers. Okay. Alright, let's finish up 6. Totally missed that one somehow. Alright. There we go. So outside the absolute value is negative 6. You might be saying, well, this one should be no solution. Look, it's a negative. However, the negative on this side, once we divide by it, will cancel it out. And now we have some number divided by 7 is equal to positive 2. Negative divided by negative, positive. So we have nothing but absolute values, so some number divided by 7 is equal to positive 2, and then also some number divided by 7 is negative 2. Okay, so what divided by 7 is 2? You might come up with 14 pretty quick. Same thing over here, just negative. And you can verify that algebraically, okay, to get 14, 2 times 7, so of course we have to do that on both sides. 7's cancel. Alright, and I'll let you verify with a check that these are the 2 answers. Okay, so we're halfway done now. Alright, let's go to the back. We got number 9. Yep. So a little more practice. Number on the outside, let's get rid of that first. So we have the absolute value of 9h, negative 9h, is equal to 9. Okay. It's a good habit just to ask yourself, how many answers are there? So this is a positive, so there are 2 answers. So we got 9 times what equals 9, and, negative 9 times what equals 9, and negative 9 times what equals negative 9. Divide both sides out. I'll do it simultaneously. H equals negative 1, and H equals positive 1. So negative 1 and 1. And I'll let you guys do the check. Okay. Do check for both. Alright, and explain why this has no solutions. So you might be saying, of course, well, you just said if you look on the right-hand side and it's positive, there's 2 solutions. This one's positive, but why does it have no solution? Again, you have to check both sides. Once I divide by a negative 7 here first, this question will be asking, let's see here, negative 3. what's negative 3 away from 0, and that doesn't make sense. Okay, so something like absolute value is distance and cannot move negative 3 miles or feet, or any example, however you want to phrase this. The idea is that distance cannot be negative. Okay, that's the big picture. Distance is always positive. Whether moving up, down, left, right, we're moving a positive distance. Okay. Always positive. There you go. Alright, good. So that ends the equation part. Now we can move on to inequalities. You'll notice that there's no check involved with inequalities. It is possible to do a check, but we're not gonna. We're gonna assume after the equations we know how to do that. And we do have to graph all our answers. So instead of a check, we're gonna be graphing. So like before, this means here's the center, and less than negative 5. So that means within like 5 feet or 5 miles. So less than 5 miles away, so I can move 5 miles, but no more than that. So algebraically or graphically, we know that the center is going to be at 0, right? Because there's nothing inside here. And then what numbers are less than 5 away? So if we go over here, right, here's 5, but all of these values are less than 5 away from 0. 4, 3, 2, 1 are less than 5 away from here. And then on the other side, we'll have negative 5, because that's 5 away. And then all these values, negative 4, those are less than 5 away. So my answer is all the numbers between negative 5 and 5. Algebraically, same as before, you have two parts. One stays the same, just drop the absolute value. One, you have to make a negative, but with the negative and inequalities, note that you also have to change the inequality sign. So we have greater than negative 5. If you look at it, we'll have a less than 5, okay, that's this one, and a greater than negative 5, and that's this one, and then they meet up. So another way of writing this is all the numbers between negative 5 and 5, use less thans. So all the numbers, all the answers between negative 5 and 5, always use less thans or less than or equal to. Also note that since this was less than, I used open circles. Open circles. Okay. So on 12, nothing on the outside, go ahead and break it up. So we'll have 4x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 9. My other inequality will be 4x minus 3 is, switch the sign, less than or equal to negative 9. Add 3 to both sides. Okay, we can do this simultaneously. So we got 4x greater than or equal to 12. 4x less than or equal to negative 6. Divide by 4 everywhere. Same algebra. X greater than or equal to 3. X less than or equal to, divide by 2, divide by 2, negative 3 over 2. Let's go graph these. I know I always want the smaller number on the left, so since one's positive, one's negative, you can draw the points anywhere you want. Doesn't have to be close, far apart, or anything. Number them. Let's see here. So we got smaller ones over here, and we got 3 over here. And notice how I use solid circles. This time closed circles because it has the equal to. Okay. And these are connected. Our last answer will be Remember, these are all our answers x, and they're between negative 3 over 2 and 3. So my final solution set will be negative 3 over 2 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 3. And there's your final answer. So once you have your graph, just think about, well, this number goes on the left, this number goes on the right, and x, those are all your answers in between. So it's in the middle here. Small number on the left, big number on the right. And from here, you're going to see a lot of redundant patterns. So not much new compared to equations, just breaking them up when there's nothing on the outside and solving. And there's one. And of course, change the second one. Okay, dividing by negative 4. Dividing by negative 4 everywhere. Right? So that will equal 1, but when you divide by negative, switch the sign again. So a lot of sign switching to keep up with. Switch the sign again. Okay, so we have, looks like, open circle. All right, 2 open circles, and we have negative 4, small one, 4 is the positive one, and these are this time less than, right? So that's going away. They're going away from each other. So our final solution set here will just be our answers with the word or in between. There we go. Okay. So usually greater than, it has an or. Okay, which reminds me, I think the last one was an or. And I am really tired today. I apologize. Yeah. Oh, this was an or at the very beginning. So really quick fix though. Let's just take out this answer. Okay. All right. And add the word or in between. And we'll still have the small number on the left, and they're just pointing away from one another. Big number on the right pointing away. So quick fix if you catch it. There we go. Okay. Alright, so now we can move on to number 14. And this time I'm going to look ahead of time. So it looks like it's a less than. I'm not going to divide by a negative, so this definitely will be connected. So from this point, you know what I can do? So I know I'm not going to divide by a negative. It's less than, so I know my graph will be 2 closed circles, and they will be connected. The rest of my journey here is going to be, what are these 2 points? So let's add 2 to both sides. Less than or equal to 12. Okay, now we can break it up. Okay, 6 plus 8y is less than 12. Okay, subtract 6 both sides. 8y is less than 6. Divide by 8. Divide by 8. Y is less than, looks like, divide by 2, you get 3. Divide by 2, you get 4. Okay. And then break up the other one. 6 plus 8y is going to be greater than or equal to negative 12. Same algebra. We got 8y is greater than or equal to negative 18. Divide by 8. So y is greater than equal to, divide by 2 divided by 2, negative 9 over 4. So now I know I have one positive, one negative, so I know that the one on the right hand side, this is the negative, put that underneath, This is the negative 9/4. This is the 3/4. And again, let's write our answer as in between. So these are all my answers in between. So I want to write negative 9/4 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 3/4. Only when they're connecting graphs do you write your answer this way. When they go away from each other, that's when you just put the word or. Okay. Here we go, 15. Okay, there's something on the outside. Let's take care of that. It's negative 2 times, so I'm going to divide to undo the multiplying by negative 2. Divide both sides by negative 2. I divided by a negative, switch the sign, and now I get, let's see here. With the center of 0, what is more than negative 2 away? So again, this is asking, here's the center, and go negative 2 miles down the road. So there is no solution here. Cannot do that. Another way of doing that is just putting the empty set. Alright, and looks like same thing here. This is asking what's negative 1 away from here? What's more than negative 1 away? You can't be more than negative 1 away. What's more than negative 1 mile away? Can't go a negative 1 mile away. So yeah, again, empty set. So be careful though. Every time I say there's no solution because there's a negative here, I'm always looking on the left side to see if there's a negative. If there's like a negative 2, I could divide both sides by negative 2, and that would cancel this out. So if you might recall, previous problems did have a negative on the right-hand side. Find one. Did have a negative on the right-hand side, like right here, number 6, but the negative on the left-hand side ended up canceling out, and we did have an answer because it makes it positive. So once you see the negative on the right-hand side, do check the left. Okay, a little review. Just always helpful to remember stuff from the past. Find the equation of the line given the slope, which is usually m, and passes through this x and this y. Hopefully the first thing that comes to mind is y equals mx plus b. Okay. We're already given the slope is 5, so you're halfway there with your answer. You know it's going to be y equals 5x. You just don't know what the y-intercept is. That's the question. So we can use this y equals mx plus b. Right, we know what m is. It's 5. We know x is negative 3. X is negative 3 right here. And we know y is equal to 1. So just plug all those in and see what you get. Y is 1. M is 5. X is negative 3. So 1 equals negative 15 plus what? Negative 15 plus what is 1? Add 15 both sides. So we get 16 is the y-intercept. Okay. Positive 16. Another way of looking at this is just sketching it out. So at negative 3 comma 1, negative 3, 3 to the left, 1 up, and our slope is 5. So that's the same as 5 over 1. So the question is asking, when we're trying to find b, the question is asking, where does it cross this y-axis? Here's y, here's x. Where does it cross this axis? Okay? And if you continue going up 5 over 1, up 5 over 1, so up 5 would be 6, 11, up 5 over 1, one more time. There you go. It crosses at 16. So we're trying to get that answer, right? The equation of this line, but without having to sketch it out. This is how we get the same answer without sketching it. Okay. Similar. Okay. What line passes through these two? Negative 4, oh no, sorry, positive 4 comma 2, negative 2. There we go. And then also 6 comma negative 8. So 6 and then negative 8 down here. Okay. So what's the equation of the line that goes through these two? So you need to know two things. Where is it crossing the y-axis? And what is the slope? Okay. What is the slope? Two things. Okay, so go ahead and find the slope. One way of doing that is the slope formula. So we have the y's on top, negative 2, negative 8, both y values. On the bottom, the two x values, 4 and 6. So y is always on top, x is always on the bottom, because it's rise over run. So we have negative 2 minus negative 8. Two negatives make a positive. We get 6 over 4 minus 6, which is negative 2. That equals negative 3. Okay. Negative 3. So we know our equation is going to be y equals negative 3 something. Alright, so we got this part figured out. We could also figure out, well, how far is it from negative 2 to negative 8, which is down 6. And how far is it from 4 to 6, positive 2? Notice how you'll get negative 3 there as well. So from here, we're just trying to figure out how many times we have to go up and over in order to get this number. So we got y equals mx plus b, same as the last one. And we know our m now is negative 3. I can use either one of these, 4 comma negative 2 for x and y, or 6 negative 8. It does not matter. You'll get the same thing because it's one line. It's the same line. So I'll have the first point, negative 2 y equals negative 3 times 4 plus b. So we got negative 2 equals negative 12 plus b. Add 12 to both sides. Negative 2 plus 12, or 12 minus 2, is just 10. So if we would have counted this out, we would have ended up at 10 up here. So our final answer, y equals negative 3x plus 10. Okay, make sure you can do this entire review all by yourself with no help. Very important that you do this over and over and over. Print out another review. Make sure that you can do it on your own. Okay, don't just copy it down and say I'm finished with the review. You'll have to do it by yourself when you do the real thing. All right, good luck.